Hello everyone, welcome again to Build with AI, and for this video we are going to talk about what VA Masters discovered after screening thousands of applicants with AI. Three patterns that will change how you hire. So, one of the things I find most interesting about VA Masters is beyond the speed and the AI pipeline, is what they've learned from operating at scale. And I think this is genuinely underappreciated. When you screen one or two more people for a role using your own judgment, you're not really generating reliable knowledge. You're generating impressions influenced by your mood, your biases, and a tiny sample size. When VA Master screens over 1,000 applicants for a single role using consistent AI criteria across many roles simultaneously, patterns emerge. Real patterns, not impressions. Patterns that no individual hiring manager, regardless of experience, could accumulate on their own. So, let me first explain why VA Masters is specifically positioned to know these things. Because I want you to understand why these findings have credibility that individual hiring experience doesn't. A founder who hires five people a year is working from a sample of five. Even a very experienced hiring manager at a mid sized company might make 20 to 30 hires a year. Those are tiny samples for detecting patterns. They're also biased. You remember the dramatic successes and failures, and you can control for the variables that affected each person's performance independently on their hiring criteria. VA Masters processes 1,000 plus applications per role, and they're doing this across many roles simultaneously. More importantly, their AI screening applies consistent criteria, the same rubric, the same standard, every applicant, which produces data that's actually comparable across thousands of data points. When you see a pattern in that environment, it's a real signal, not a story you've told yourself based on a handful of memorable hires. So, finding number one: how someone describes their past work is a strong predictor of how they'll communicate in the role. This sounds obvious when stated directly, but its practical implications are counterintuitive. VA Masters found a consistent correlation between the specificity and outcome orientation of CV language and the quality of written communication throughout the engagement, in the skills test, in the interview, and in the role itself. Candidates whose CVs describe what changed because of what they did, not just what they did, communicate more clearly and more usefully with clients. The inverse holds just as consistently. Vogue CV language, experience in project management, skilled in communication, handled various administrative tasks, predicts Vogue role communication. Not always, but consistently enough at scale to be a reliable signal. What this means practically: when you read a CV, you're not just reading a credential list, you are reading a communication sample from the actual person. The quality of the writing tells you something real about how this person will communicate with your clients. VA Masters enforces this at stage 1. It is why their specificity scoring is one of the first filters in the pipeline. Finding 2: the biggest predictor of long term placement success is not skill level at the time of hiring, it is learning speed. VA Masters tracks placement outcomes over time, how candidates perform months and years into their engagement, not just in the first week. And the pattern that emerges most consistently is the VAs with the best long term performance metrics are not necessarily the most skilled at the point of hiring. They are the ones who learn fastest. VA Masters captures an early signal of this in their skills test by including tasks that are slightly outside the candidate's stated area of expertise. How a candidate approaches the unfamiliar: do they panic? Do they assume and proceed? Or do they pause, ask a specific clarifying question, and then execute systematically? It is one of the most predictive signals in their entire pipeline. Candidates who handle unfamiliar territory well at stage 3 consistently outperform in long term placements. Finding number 3. This one is the most counterintuitive, and this one I think has the most practical implication for how most people currently evaluate candidates. VA Master surfaces this specifically because their multi stage process makes it visible. A candidate can project confidence in a CV and their first interview. They cannot maintain inflated self assessment across a custom skills test, a structured interview, and a scoring rubric. VA Master's pipeline is specifically designed to surface this, and it's one of the reasons their placements perform at the level they do. So, let me close with three specific changes you can make to how you evaluate candidates, derived directly from what VA Masters has learned. First, read CVs as communication samples. Second, include at least one unfamiliar task in any skills assessment. And third, score self awareness as a positive quality signal. These insights come from VA Master's AI powered recruitment process at scale. If you want all this, the methodology, the pipeline, the evidence based candidate evaluation applied to your next hire, book a discovery call. Link in the description. So that's it for this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Build with AI for more videos. See you on the next one.